Hidden in plain sight among suburban lawns lies a workshop, a quiet refuge for innovation, ingenuity and occasionally questionable decision-making. Here we see the modern craftsman in his natural habitat, proudly holding a sleek, commercially made power station, perhaps reconsidering his DIY ambitions.
Okay, calm down, disembodied British dude. I am not reconsidering anything. Buying this might have been easier, but I built my own. And guess what? It's actually awesome.
Surprising?
Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence. Anyway, in today's video, I'll walk you through exactly how I built this power station using stuff I already had around my shop, some Amazon deals, and a Harbor Freight solar kit. You'll see every step, every success, and yes, even a mishap or two.
Purely for educational purposes, of course.
Exactly. So whether you're looking to save some money, looking for something new, or enjoy just a bit of DIY theatrics, stick around. I promise it'll be worth your while.
And so, the builder sits deep in thought. The gears in his mind turn, albeit slowly. The thinking chair, a relic of the past. Discarded not once, but twice. Rescued from the depths of a dumpster, it defied fate, its purpose now greater than ever. Wait, could it be a spark of brilliance? It was there all along, waiting, watching, ready to fulfill its ultimate destiny.
I think I figured it out. I wasn't sure if I was wanting to, build a box, to put this power station in. I've got a ton of pallet boards. I thought, how cool would that be? And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll just go buy a nice little cooler or something to put this power station of mine in. And I was like, no, I don't want to spend any more money. And then, pow, the perfect rigid toolbox. Nice thing about this thing is right now I just have the one battery, but this thing's, it's got the nice little handle on here. I'll be able to put 2 batteries in here and still have plenty of room for all the goodies. Perfect.
The classic DIY maneuver, the plumber's reveal, tastefully censored, of course. First, our DIY hero equips his drill with the precision tool known as a 2-inch hole saw. Fancy name, same dangerous potential. Next, he carefully measures out exactly where he plans to drill. Accuracy is key here, or at least pretending it is. A quick starter hole to guide the larger drill bit, because even chaos needs a little direction sometimes. And now, the moment of truth, cutting the first 2-inch hole. It's loud, messy and oddly satisfying. DIY at its finest. The moment of reckoning, does it fit? Of course it does. These desk power grommets are basically just fancy extension cords, but way cooler. 1 hole is never enough, so on to round 2, literally. Symmetry is the mark of a true craftsman, or so he tells himself. Here's a unique perspective from inside the toolbox, witnessing firsthand as the cords bravely descend into the abyss. Securing everything tightly with the provided threaded washer, otherwise known as that little spinny thingy. And just like that, a professional-looking power outlet is installed. The second one? Let's pretend that happened smoothly off-camera. Next up, the oscillating multi-tool, a DIYer's favourite toy, but, a very serious professional tool. It slices, it dices, and it makes oddly precise holes for gadgets our craftsman probably didn't know he needed. Observe the expert technique, steady hands, laser-focused eyes, and a healthy dash of reckless enthusiasm. And behold, the perfectly imperfect rectangle. Not bad for someone with absolutely no formal training, eh? Now, if any of these nifty gadgets catch your eye, I'll ensure links are conveniently placed in the description. No affiliation or sponsorship, just saving you from excessive clicking. You're welcome. Now, 2 smaller holes for the USB wires, because forcing wires through solid plastic is usually frowned upon, even in DIY. Tool safely back on the rack, surprisingly responsible behavior. This must be a special occasion. With delicate precision, or at least something resembling it, the first USB cable gracefully slides into its new home. And the second one follows suit. Symmetry restored, DIY dignity intact, for now. Surprise, the drill returns for an encore appearance. I suppose organisation was short-lived after all. This time we switch to a 1-inch hole saw, a slightly smaller tool for a slightly smaller, oddly named task. A quick drill beneath the USB ports for what's commonly known as a cigarette lighter socket, despite the fact that nobody's actually lit a cigarette with one since about 1987. Here's a dramatic inside-the-box view, just in case you doubted the intensity of this action-packed drilling sequence. And back it goes, at least until next time. Stay tuned. Carefully threading wires through, our craftsman proudly inserts what industry experts prefer to call a 12-volt accessory socket. See? That sounds way more sophisticated. Inside the box now, securing the 12-volt accessory socket tightly with its threaded washer, truly riveting footage. And here it is in all its glory, the highly advanced, impressively named cigarette lighter port, or rather 12-volt accessory socket. Apologies. And finally, attaching the protective dust cover, ensuring no actual cigarettes will ever harm this majestic accessory port. Next up, our craftsman ponders where to install this impressive-looking switch, technically a waterproof high-amp circuit breaker. Fancy name, practical function. Using the provided gasket as a high-tech stencil, he carefully outlines the location, demonstrating exceptional tracing skills acquired in kindergarten. The oscillating multi-tool makes its triumphant return, cutting, buzzing and shaping another perfectly imperfect hole from multiple dramatic angles. Truly Oscar-worthy cinematography. A quick tidy up with the utility knife because, contrary to popular belief, DIY doesn't always mean destroy it yourself. Behold, the circuit breaker settles comfortably into its custom-built home, looking every bit as impressive as the toolbox. Apologies, what I meant to say. As the power station deserves. Ah yes, the classic dangling USB port look, an essential step in the DIY aesthetic. Thankfully, a quick adjustment fixes that rebellious port, restoring dignity, or at least what remains of it. With surgical precision, or at least something vaguely resembling it, he drills holes to anchor the USB ports firmly in place. Now, armed with a trusty screwdriver, screws are tightened, ports secured, and order restored to the DIY universe. And because redundancy is key in DIY, he repeats the entire riveting process for the second port, truly gripping entertainment. Finally, elegant finishing covers are snapped into place, instantly transforming the project from "I built this" to "I bought this," almost. Moving to the rear of our soon-to-be legendary power station, our DIY expert installs two SAE quick connectors. One will serve as the port for AC charging, or, as professionals might say, shore power. The other port eagerly awaits solar power from the Harbour Freight Kit. And if you're wondering why there's no footage of cutting these particular holes, well, let's just call that an artistic choice, shall we? Next, our craftsman expertly fashions a circle stencil from graph paper, traces it carefully and thinks, how hard could cutting a simple hole be? Famous last words. Attempt 1, drill a bunch of small holes around the edge. Clever, maybe effective, stay tuned. Attempt 2, utility knife versus industrial plastic. Plastic wins decisively. Attempt 3, sawzall blade. Nope, changed his mind immediately. Wisdom or surrender, hard to tell. Attempt 4, jigsaw. Promising until it wasn't. The blade rebels, the clasp interferes, DIY drama at its peak. Attempt 5, the hero returns, oscillating multi-tool to the rescue. Even this marvellous gadget faces a fierce battle against the toolbox's legendary durability. Blade change number 1, because durability has consequences. Persistence finally pays off. After a marathon effort worthy of DIY folklore, the hole submits to relentless determination and stubbornness. Behold the hard-earned hole, admire its majestic imperfection. A quick clean-up of the edges restores some dignity to this hard-fought opening. But wait, more plastic ribs challenge our craftsman, demanding yet another battle with the oscillating multi-tool. At this point, he questions every life decision that led here. At last the fan cover fits. Triumph! The toolbox's stubborn durability confirms its worth as a power station. Thankfully, lessons were mostly learned. For the second hole, he skips straight to the oscillating tool, sped up, so you don't suffer through it again. You're welcome. Now comes the delicate dance of wiring the thermostat, a crucial device that'll keep our fans running when things heat up inside. Ground wire first, simple enough. Positive wire next, connected carefully so it doesn't suddenly become a firework. Here, a short jumper wire bridges from the positive terminal, 12 volts to K1, allowing power to pass through the thermostat switch. Think of it as a mini gateway for electricity. Tightening it down securely because loose wires and DIY projects are a recipe for unwanted excitement. Connecting this wire into the K0 terminal finishes the thermostat setup, simple yet essential. Another wire into K0 because you can never have too many wires clearly labelled with cryptic letters. And finally, a piece of sturdy Velcro holds our thermostat securely in its forever home, easily accessible for future tweaks. Velcro, truly the duct tape of the DIY world. Next comes wiring the thermostat to the fans. This involves fusing wires with fancy heat shrink connectors and expertly using a self-adjusting wire stripper, which sounds far more intimidating than it actually is. Splicing wires, adding shrink tubing, and carefully shrinking it down. This might seem tedious, but hey, quality wiring equals less spontaneous combustion. Always a win. Now, if you're craving an ultra-detailed wiring tutorial, YouTube has plenty of those deep dives. But here, we keep it simple, safe, and just entertaining enough to hold your attention. In theory. First, the inverter goes into the box secured firmly with Velcro. Well, it was supposed to be firm, but apparently Velcro takes winters off. Next stop, the legendary dresser of organized chaos, where our craftsman stores an impressive assortment of things that might someday be useful. A 4-gauge cable makes an appearance but is quickly dismissed as overkill because apparently even DIY has limits. Settling instead for some leftover 10-gauge wires, he confidently returns to the bench, ready to make magic happen, or sparks. Hopefully not sparks. Spools tossed onto the bench, precision placement achieved. 2 feet of wire measured by eye, scientifically accurate enough for DIY purposes. Snip, snip, the Quinn pliers make short work of the wires, another win for quality tool addiction. Stripping wires effortlessly. Thanks again to the mighty Quinn self-adjusting stripper, truly the unsung hero of wire prep. Wires secured safely to these fancy 12-way connector terminals, designed specifically to prevent accidental sparks and DIY-induced explosions. In a moment of ambitious laziness, our craftsman attempts to use a cordless drill instead of an Allen wrench. Result, connector chaos ensues. Lesson learned, mostly. Moving on, 2 wires go into the MTTP, a vital piece of equipment that ensures the solar kit plays nicely with the battery. Conveniently labelled with hieroglyphics so simple, even a DIY can't mess it up, at least in theory. Screwing wires in securely, he confidently gives them a tug, confirming no wires will be escaping today. With meticulous care and extremely tiny screws, the MTTP is secured firmly in its place of business, completing another step toward DIY greatness. Finally, the grand finale, the last bit of wiring. Truth be told, this involved tedious wire splicing, endless connectors, and the overwhelming temptation to fall asleep. But don't worry, we've sped things up for your sanity and mine. Terminals carefully connected to the battery, with the switch off, of course. No sparks, no smoke, just how DIY dreams should end. At last, the moment we've all been waiting for, the DIY power station in its full majestic glory. Behold the craftsmanship, the ingenuity, the toolbox. Sorry, power station. Plugging in a fan as the first test, never doubted it for a moment, mostly. Battery fully charged, readings looking good, and surprisingly no alarm bells ringing. Always a good sign. The switch flips on. The inverter wakes up eager to impress. And finally, a phone charges successfully. Proof that DIY perseverance truly pays off. Who knew?
Well, there you have it. Portable power station, built from stuff mostly lying around my shop. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Was it worth it? Definitely. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that stuff. It really helps.